2009 to order. This is the Oregon City Commission, our regular meeting, which is basically ceremonial this evening as we begin our new year. This is Wednesday, January 7th, and I'm Alice Norris, the mayor. Good evening.
Daphne West, City Commissioner.
Damon Mabee, Commission President, for a few more minutes.
Doug Neely, City Commissioner.
Would you please stand and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's appropriate that we begin the events this evening with the flag salute as we begin every commission meeting, but this is an evening that's fraught with ceremony, with tradition, and with many symbols. And one of the symbols that I like is the smooth transition, which of course the government that we have in our country honors. So tonight you see the commission as it is today, and then we will have our oath of office and the turnover smoothly of our government to new hands. So this is also an interesting evening because it is the sesquicentennial year. Oregon is turning 150 today, this year, on February 14th, and as Oregon's first city, Oregon City is playing a very important role. So I have determined that at each meeting we will have a sesquicentennial moment, little-known facts about Oregon City. So this evening's is, and I didn't know this one at all, but on our city seal, this very complicated one that we have on all of our letterhead, our city's motto is there. I didn't notice it before, but it says, Urbs Civitatis Nostrae Prima et Mater. And does anyone know what it means?
The mother of all our cities.
First and mother town of our state. And that's the city's motto. I didn't know that. Who knows Oregon's motto? She flies with her own wings. She flies with her own wings. Okay, that's your sesquicentennial moment. And now let's move on with the business of the evening, which is to administer the oath of office to two new city commissioners. Anyone who holds elected office is taking on a very responsible position, a very challenging position, but a position of extremely high honor. It is one that is regulated by rules and regulations, and I think to further seal the seriousness of that obligation, we have this evening, we're honored to have with us our municipal judge, the Honorable Lorraine McNeese, to administer the oath of office. And I think it's also a time where we reflect that those of us who serve because others came before us to get us to where we are today. And I see in the audience we have some former city mayors that I would like to recognize. We have former Mayor Eddie Alec, who served when? Back in the 70s? 80s. 4 terms. And we have former Mayor Don Anderson, who served probably that many terms as well. You were there a long time. And we're glad to have you here today, and we thank you for all that you have given to the city. And without further ado, then, how about if we move along to administer the oath of office to our brand-new commissioners. The first one will be position number 2, Rocky Smith, Jr. Oh, wait just a second. Before I honor the work that people did before us, I also want to honor Commissioner Damon Mabee, who served as our commission president, and Commissioner Trent Tidwell, who's had wisdom teeth removed and is unable to be with us this evening. But I don't think that means he's less one. He's had 4, so he's had a tough thing. So thank you. They served for four years and 4 very tough years. So we really appreciate the work that you've done. So now, without further ado, let's have Commissioner-elect Rocky Smith please come forward, and you'll receive your oath of office with Judge McNeese. Up in front here, both of you. Just stand right here. This is the best way for the camera.
Okay, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I, Rocky Smith, Jr.,
I, Rocky Smith, Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the State of
and
Oregon,
of the State of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
the duties of City Commissioner
the duties of City Commissioner
during my of Oregon City
of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I look forward to the next 4 years, and just wanted to thank some people who came tonight. A good friend of mine, William Becker, my grandmother, Becky Smith, my mother and father, Rocky Smith and Angela Smith, the two former mayors, and my brother-in-law, and the other supporters in the room that helped in the last many, many months. So thank you so much. I look forward to it, and appreciate it. Thanks.
And Commissioner Smith, I would like to present to you the certificate that certifies that you were properly elected. And there you go. So please come and join me up here on the dais. Next, we will have the oath of office administered to Commission Position Number 3, Jim Nicita.
Okay, would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, James J. Nicita,
I, James J. Nicita,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the State of Oregon,
of the United States and the State of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
the duties of City Commissioner
the duties of City Commissioner
of Oregon City
of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof. Thanks, everyone. Since Rocky set a precedent of being brief, I'll try to be brief myself. That's probably good that he did that for all of you.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, I too would like to start off with some thanks, and in particular, I would like to acknowledge and thank the City Commission, including Commissioner Mabey and Commissioner Tidwell, for what I think we all owe them a debt of gratitude for the struggles that they had with our finances and the success that they had in putting our finances on a very solid footing. Those of us who are going to be carrying on really will build on that progress, and I think that's an incredible legacy that the entire commission can look back on as a good legacy. Secondly, I'd like to thank my parents. My mom, May Nicita, is there in the back. Mom, why don't you wave there? I'd also like to thank my late father also. And thirdly, I'd like to thank all those of you who helped me out to get where I am today, my political supporters and all the voters of Oregon City. And I got to confess to a little bit of deja vu, just as an aside. Mr. Sullivan here was my professor of land use law at law school. And I actually very much look forward to soaking up the wisdom of one of the great men of land use law in Oregon and municipal law.
Well, time will tell whether you pass the test.
And I look forward to working with the staff, and very much look forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Commissioner Nicita,
Yes.
please join us up here at the dais. And here is the certification of your election.
Thank you.
That's not in his job description. Welcome aboard, and we look forward to 4 years of great progress. progress, and I'm sure that you'll contribute to that. We next have another piece of business, and that is the election of our commission president for 2009. Traditionally, this is a one-year position that rotates among the commission, and I will entertain nominees for commission president.
I would like to move for
Commissioner Neely.
Daphne West to serve that term as commission president.
And I will second that.
Been moved by Commissioner Neely, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Are there further nominations or discussion? If not, we poll the commission, please.
Commissioner Nocita,
Abstain?
Commissioner Neely,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
I did not vote for myself.
Yes.
Aye.
You always vote for yourself.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Mayor Norris.
Aye, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention.
If I
Commissioner West?
might point out, one time when I was honored to be chair, I wasn't sure I was going to go, so I seconded my motion.
There are many ways to get legislation passed.
Well, I don't know if the mayor and the commission is ready or the city can afford this move of me being here as commission president.
Why is that?
Well, you know, it's a little far for me to take out the garbage and over here by the door.
We'll have to get someone else to take your spot.
Maybe we'll have to we'll fix the air conditioning.
Yeah, what I was going to say, the benefit is that, in fact, the door will be closed.
The commission president is a chartered office, and because it is if I'm unable to serve, the commission president takes over. So we will swear in our commission president. And Judge McNeese, would you please do the office? Commissioner West, would you, commission president-elect?
While she's coming here, Mr. Sullivan, Howard is great.
They were very good.
We all remember our law school professors. Well, this gives me great pleasure. Would you raise your right hand, please? I, Daphne West,
I, Daphne West,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of
and
Oregon,
the state of Oregon,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of Commission President
of Commission President
of Oregon City
of Oregon City
during my incumbency thereof.
during my incumbency thereof.
Great.
I, too, would like to welcome our new commissioners tonight. It's an exciting night for them, and look forward to working to them for 4 years. And I also would like to thank everyone for their confidence in voting for me as commission president. So thank you very much.
The city, your city commission does work beyond these walls, and we represent the city in on various committees and boards throughout the state and throughout the region. So it is my pleasure at this time to announce the committee assignments. Some of them are predicated on interest that individual commissioners have expressed. Others are simply a matter of who is available to go to the meeting. But in almost every case, we have a member and an alternate. So I think you will be in good hands with those important meetings covered. There's 15 of them. First is the Metro Policy Advisory Committee, called MPAC, and that is the Regional Land Use Committee. And I will be the member of that. In fact, I'm currently serving as chair for another week, and the alternate will be Commissioner Neely. South Fork Water Board, we have 3 members that serve for 2 years. The chair of that rotates between Oregon City and West Lynn because we own the water district jointly. I currently chair that for another week. No, for another day. I believe it's tomorrow night is our meeting. And so the 3 commissioners that will serve on that with the 3 Westland commissioners will be myself, Commissioner West, and Commissioner Smith. JPAC, the Joint Policy Advisory Committee on Transportation, is the regional committee on transportation, and I have been recently elected to serve as alternate representing the cities of Clackamas County. From Lake Oswego, Councilor Donna Jordan will be the member. Lake Oswego, being the largest city in the county, has to always be either the member or the alternate. We have 2 Urban and Rural Reserves Committee. Many of you know that we're working on that. On the regional level, I will serve as the member, and Commissioner Nocita will serve as the alternate. On the County Reserves Committee, Commissioner Neely will continue to serve as the member, and Commissioner West as the alternate. South Metro Light Rail Committee that we're involved in, with the eventual goal of bringing light rail to Oregon City. I will continue in my role as a member of that committee. Clackamas County Coordinating Committee, which we fondly call C4, I will serve as the member and Commissioner West as the alternate. The Regional Wastewater Task Force has multiple meetings, and when required, I will serve as the member with Jim Nocita as alternate. Main Street Program, we've already endorsed Daphne, Commissioner West, as a board member for that, and Commissioner Nocita also serves on one of the subcommittees. I believe it's the design subcommittee. The Willamette Falls Heritage Area Coalition, I will serve as the member with Commissioner West as the alternate. The 150th Task Force has been underway, and the 3 of us, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner West, and I have been serving to help get those projects underway. You'll hear about one of them later tonight. Economic development is a very important priority for the city, and I will continue to serve as liaison, as will Commissioner West when needed. Clackamas Heritage Partners is a consortium of the majority of our historical properties, and because the Interpretive Center sits on city property, we have a liaison to CHP, and that will be Commissioner Nocita with alternate as Commissioner West. And the Oregon City Tourism Council, again, the 3 of us already sit on that in various roles, so Commissioner Smith, Commissioner West will serve as the members, and I will serve as the alternate on that. So those are the many, that's the work that we'll be doing outside of the meetings that we will hold here, and we will try to report regularly on the progress of those committees.
Madam Mayor, did you, on number 13, One Willamette River Coalition?
I did not yet appoint that. I'm trying, Oregon Solutions, I believe, is no longer part of that committee, and I'm trying to find out what kind of configuration that committee will be having, and then we'll talk about that. So, good catch. The attorney. I should have known. So with that completes that piece of our business, and now we will move into citizen comment. This is a section of the agenda where citizens may speak to us for up to 3 minutes on any subject. We just ask that you print your name legibly on our comment card, and when you come to the microphone, just tell us your name and the city in which you live, and then you may address us. We have one who's signed up to speak this evening, Claire Met. Please come forward.
Good evening. Congratulations on the new commissioners. I'm Claire Met. I'm a resident of Oregon City, and I am the event coordinator for the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce. And the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce would like to invite everyone, both here and in the viewing audience, to our annual dinner and auction, which this year will be on Saturday, January 31st. It will be our 100th year in service to business in Oregon City. We started in 1909. And the dinner will be starting at the Willamette Falls Health Education Center at 5:30 with a silent auction, wine pull, and hors d'oeuvres. And then we'll be moving over to the Abernathy Center at 7 for a plated dinner, a dessert and oral auction, and excuse me, and a program. We are also having a raffle drawing for a 4-day trip for 4 people to Disneyland, including airfare, lodging, and admission to the museum, or excuse me, to the Disneyland and California Adventure. Part of that is the airfare. You can use it for either, it's a 4 round-trip tickets to anywhere that American Airlines flies. You don't have to use it to go to Disneyland, which is a great deal. And the tickets are $10 each, or 3 for $25. So, contact the chamber, or email us there at the chamber. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I believe the city will have at least 1 table. We normally have, I believe 2 there. So, and that's the evening we'll be announcing our Citizen of the Year, as we always do.
And Madam Mayor, members of the commission, anyone who's interested in attending, if they'd let Ms. Idno will make those reservations.
Yep, I believe she's already sent out an email about that, so thank you. Next, are there any other citizens who have come prepared to speak this evening, or not, or just felt moved? All right, we'll move on then to the consent agenda. May I have a motion for, well, I guess we probably need to pull the minutes of December the 9th, since two of you weren't there. And the tradition here is you do not need to legally by Robert's Rules of Order, but if you are not at a meeting, we traditionally abstain. So, may I have a motion for adoption of 6A?
I move approval of
Consent
6A.
May I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner West, seconded by Commissioner Neely on the consent agenda. Nancy, the vote, please.
Commissioner Nocita,
Abstain.
Commissioner Neely,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Mayor Norris.
Aye, motion passes. You weren't here, did you want to abstain?
Well, liquor license.
No. Oh, excuse me, it is. Yeah, it is. Sorry, yes.
That's right.
Did you,
I can vote on that one.
yes,
I can't vote on the
did you know that that's what you were voting on?
I was voting abstain on the minutes.
Yes, okay, let's start over. On the consent agenda, 6A, which is the liquor license, the vote, please.
Commissioner Nocita,
Aye.
Commissioner Neely,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Mayor Norris.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Now, the minutes of December the 9th work session. May I have a motion for approval, please?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner West, seconded by Commissioner Neely. Nancy, the vote, please.
Commissioner Nocita,
Aye. I'm sorry, abstain.
Now we've got you really confused.
Commissioner Neely,
Get it.
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Abstain.
Mayor Norris.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0 with 2 abstentions. Okay, that concludes our business agenda. And under communications, we'll first have communications from our city manager, who actually, I believe, has a piece of business.
Have actually three things.
Great.
First of all, I'd like to welcome the new commission, and staff and I look forward to working with you as well as the rest of the commission. And since you've just given up your life, I'll remind everyone that we will begin that on Friday evening. We do have our retreat, which is scheduled from 5 till whenever we quit talking on Friday, and from 8 a.m. to whenever we quit talking on Saturday. It should be a good retreat. There's actually we'll have some folks joining us to give us some additional perspectives. I think there's a lot of issues we need to talk through, so we look forward to having that discussion. Secondly, I'd like to ask Ms. Krushauer to give you a report on the storm, and then I have a little bit of legal business I need Mr. Sullivan to talk to you about.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Welcome to the new commissioners. What I would like to do is just give a brief overview of the past storm event we had, which was predominantly heavy rainfall, really almost unprecedented rainfall in terms of its flashiness over the city of Oregon City. As I understand, we had about 5 inches of rain, and the numbers aren't exactly right yet, but anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, which creates essentially havoc for our drainage ways, our streams, our storm drainage system. And while it created challenges for our staff, I think the operations group just provided a heroic effort in getting out there in response time, giving time around the clock, and responding to problems in a really very, very effective way. We had some problems. We had some things that we wish hadn't occurred. We had sewage backup on Joyce Court, where 5 homes got sewage in their homes. And that, we worked very hard on trying to figure out what was going on, and we finally have determined, upon cleaning the downstream pipe, that there was a blockage, let alone a roller paintbrush. So I'm not sure who was putting rollers down our sewage system, but you can see in public that please only put the things that belong in the sewage system down the sewage system. Those kinds of articles really cause problems for people. And we were fortunate to work on that partially yesterday. We partially unblocked it yesterday and then got the final amount of material out of there today. So with that, the sewage systems, the pipe started flowing as it should, and I think we'll be in good shape. I think we're going to, of course, review the capacity of that pipe system, but I think that really, truly, that was the problem, and it wasn't a capacity problem of the pipe system itself. The other problems we had was on Lynn Avenue. We had some backup of sewage, and for that we got out. We contracted with a pipe company to bring in some pumps to try to get the heavy flows out of where it was backing up and down to a downstream manhole at Jackson Street. That was fairly effective, and that's another pipe section we're going to be looking into in terms of if there's problems within the pipes or if we have capacity problems, and we should probably be addressing that in the future. But keeping in mind that this was such a large storm, we wouldn't necessarily want to just design for this kind of flows because they occur very rarely, and we'd be over-designing our system. In terms of, we've also had experienced there was a lot of superficial flooding and many streets had to be closed. We worked closely with the Oregon City Police Department. I really appreciate their help in closing the streets, monitoring them, reopening them when possible. Those are just a few of the issues we ran into. We had streams that were eroded tremendously in this storm, and we found yards and yards of gravel and rock either downstream in the roads, which we had to clean up, or in downstream channels, which we've also been working on cleaning that all up. There's still some cleanup to be done, but again, our crews have just been working very hard and extremely effectively in dealing with the storm. In preparation for what we see might be, the one other thing that you should be aware of is we've also had, we right now have 7 landslides that we're aware of in Oregon City. They haven't all occurred within this time frame, but my knowledge is the majority of them have. So we're monitoring those, working with the families that are affected, and our building official, Guy Sperb, is also in direct contact with those families. We also have some additional slope movement at our Newell Creek Village Apartments, which is unfortunate, but not unexpected, given the geologic conditions out there. And that's another site that we're monitoring very carefully in terms of to make sure that we don't have access problems to get to the people that live there, and to make sure that they're safe and have utilities. In preparation for what could be hopefully not as big of a storm tonight, we've gotten all of our catch basin grates have been cleaned. We've got our priority grates that we are taking care of. Right now we have 3,500 sandbags left. We've opened a second sandbag station right up here on the hilltop, so we have one at 122 South Center and one up here at Danielson's. We will have another 5,000 sandbags coming in tomorrow, and then another 5,000 coming in next week. We are working with police department. They now have access to our barricades, so they can quickly close streets. And we have, let's see, I guess bottom line is we are monitoring the slides, certainly aware of all of our problem areas now, and we are also have pump contractors on call should we need to be looking at that Lynn Avenue if we have any overcapacity on the Lynn Avenue sewer pipes. A lot of that on Lynn Avenue probably is from inflow and infiltration, I&I, because that pipe system, I believe, is one of a bit older than some of our newer ones on the hilltop. So I guess that's the synopsis of what's happened and how we're preparing for additional rain. The part that I just got news from John Lewis, who's here, was what this is all costing us. And not only did I have him tally up what's cost the city for the the rainstorm to date, but for the snowstorm it's cost us $50,000. And that's something that our street division simply cannot absorb. So we're going to have to be talking to the city manager about how we pay for that. And then it'll come right out of your paycheck, right, Larry? Yeah. And then the latest rainfall storm event to date so far has cost us about $30,000. And that's a hit on our stormwater division, too, that, as you know, particularly not the new commissioners are aware that our stormwater fund is a bit underfunded at this point for capital, so we don't have $30,000 extra in the fund, even with the slight increase we adopted this year. So, all in all, the costs have been great for our community to bear. We'll be figuring out how to absorb that into the entire budget, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Nancy, I would like to commend you, and particularly the Public Works staff, John, and all of the personnel down at Operations, and Jim, you did an amazing job. I know that a patron called me at 1 a.m., and former Commissioner Mabee as well, and he called, there he is, and when Commissioner Mabee called down to Operations, someone was there in the middle of the night. So I know, how many 24-hour shifts did you have? About 4 24-hour days. That's just extraordinary. And the feedback that I've gotten from individuals in the community is that, when they called, you were very responsive and dealt with the situation the best you could. But anyway, again, I commend you on behalf of the community for the work that you have put in to keep us safe and healthy. And then, actually, if you could circle back, because I believe that there still are questions about how we deal with snow, the sand versus de-icing. If you could kind of give another summary of that, because I think that's really useful. I find myself telling people about that every day.
Right. And
Thank you.
this snow event we had was difficult to deal with because of that ice in between. But what we're doing now, we're really starting a new practice in using de-icer much more throughout a snowstorm, especially as the snow is starting to collect. And we believe that that will eliminate the need for excessive amounts of sand, which we then have to go and pick up afterwards. And the de-icer, I think, is a very effective mechanism. It's both labor effective, it's efficient use of our labor and our vehicles. And of course, the sand, as I mentioned above, it really creates a big mess that we have to clean up. It takes hours and hours of time. And in this storm, we got that big fat layer of ice in between the snowstorms, and that was something that we really couldn't. The de-icer was not able to be effective on that ice layer. And then when we got the snow on top of that, we were having trouble with our plows because it was hard to plow when you've got that ice layer underneath the snow. So all in all, we are using de-icer more. We'll continue to use that more. Most of our snowstorms in Oregon City are ones with the de-icer will be very effective. And also just a reiteration is that we do work on our arterial streets and the streets that are going to essential services buildings, such as the hospital, fire stations, et cetera. Those are our priority routes. And then we go to the minor arterials and collectors. And then after that, we go to the local streets, and it can take days to get to the local streets. We also pay a lot of attention to our steep hill neighborhoods, though, so that we can help people get around where we have steep slopes, which there are a lot of those in Oregon City. But so we do have a priority. We have a map, and we're going to try to provide more and more information to folks as the community adapts to the use of the de-icer more over the sand.
If I might just bring up a piece of the memo that you, John Lewis, wrote that said that one thing for the future that you might want to initiate more storage for the de-icer since the regional supply ran out. So I know that you're doing a collection of what we can do differently next time.
Right. And as we transfer to this new system, I mean, this snowstorm was really our first experience with it. And so there were things we learned that we will definitely work on to make it a really successful program.
Commissioner West.
When we came in tonight here, or before the meeting, I was thinking, boy, we're just going to talk about the snowstorm. Now the last few days, the rainstorm. But one thing that I didn't hear you bring up that was really of concern to me or to many people around, was with the ice, all the tree limbs that fell down. I know my street was closed, and I live in the middle of town, and so maybe you want to review, and I see limbs everywhere. I don't know whose responsibility it is to pick all that up, but maybe you want to, yes, maybe you want to go over the policy on right-of-way trees and whose responsibility is to
Yeah.
get that cut up, or
okay.
how that works.
The trees that are in your frontage, whether they be in the right-of-way or on your front yard, are really the responsibility of the property owner. If there's limb damage, the property owner is responsible for cleaning it up.
And if I could just add, and I too would like to commend our crews. I know not everyone perhaps was happy, but if you took a trip out with the folks doing this work and saw what they were faced with and the effort putting forth, they've gone above and beyond. And that goes, Public Works really did yeoman's duty here. It also carries over to our police department. We had our parks crews. We had a number of buildings that had to, we needed to get the snow loading off the top of those. The trees were an issue. I don't know if all of you are aware that we had a major tree across Lynn Avenue for a good while, and that really threw more traffic on to Molalla, and that's some of the issues we're facing there. In addition to that, we did put out a request for citizens to clean sidewalks if they could, and we had a number of folks really turn to and help us there, because we had citizens who, because they couldn't get around and had to use public transit or walk, they were actually walking in the drive lanes, which really created even a bigger safety hazard. So where we get those sidewalks cleared, and a number of citizens really gave us a good hand on that. So really it was a community effort, as Ms. Crushauer indicated. These are not storms that you can budget for or plan for. They're above and beyond, and we're going to see what we can do to do a better job. But when this happens, it does call on the whole community to help out, to help get us through, and Oregon City did a pretty good job.
Another thing that I appreciated, this was a good use, I think, of our Code Red alert system. I really appreciated the call from Public Works that went to every telephone, I guess, in our community.
got
Is that
it.
how it goes? Yeah, I thought it was very well done, so appreciate that. While former Mayor Alec is coming forward, Commissioner Neely, we just
It's
met.
okay.
You
I'll yield to...
Okay, you need to come up to the microphone.
Come on up, Ed. Come on.
Oh, they got you trapped back there. We just want to hear every word you say.
I
So.
appreciate that. I don't know if that's true.
I was going to say it didn't matter whether we wanted to hear it or
Well,
not.
Doug heard it from here. But as a citizen of this city, Edward Alec, Oregon City, I would like to commend our people in this town for doing one heck of a job with the small amount of equipment that we do have. And I'm aware of what you have, and I'm aware of what happened with that equipment, and I really appreciate the job that our people have done. And we really have, for years in this city, been fortunate enough to have people that cared about our town. And we don't always agree, and that's obvious to everybody. But the fact is, we still come together when things like this happen, and I really appreciate what these people have done for us. And that's what I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Now, Commissioner Neely.
Yeah, I think oftentimes when we think of emergency services, we think of police and fire. And of course, there have been several other events in Oregon City where Public Works have come in and done things very, very quickly. And it is a very important component of the emergency services here. I don't think we always appreciate that. I guess I got a question, too. I see a lot of pavement damage around, and I presume it's because of the chains and other things that were being used. And I don't know if you want to take a moment to discuss that or want to deal with that at a different meeting, but I see a lot of pavement damage.
Well, I can only briefly comment that you're right. There has been a lot of pavement damage. It's especially to be expected on some of our roads that were reaching their 10, 15, 18-year-old pavement life. And our street division, you guys authorized the purchase of a new patch truck several months ago, and it arrived on, I think it was on New Year's Eve. So our street crew is now getting trained in that, and it should provide some very superior patching capabilities from our previous fleet. So they're going around and assessing where the biggest problems are. We're receiving phone calls through the city recorder's office, obviously through operations, and we're going to get to those as we can. But we are also, because of our new transportation or pavement maintenance utility fee, John is going to be putting together a contract where we can, put together a package and address some of the problems. But this kind of a storm, it kind of takes us back a few steps in terms of where we were before the storm. There'll be a lot of work.
Thank you for that assessment. I'm sure we hear more.
Madam Mayor, one other service too I didn't mention, and I think a lot goes sight unseen in a lot of cases, and we had a number of employees who pitched in to do that, is we have a number of folks who are homebound, and they depend on our Meals on Wheels program to get those out, and we were able to get those all out during the storm, and that was really, a number of folks went above and beyond getting those out there as well. So.
And I think I saw a picture, some media outlet, where the city manager and the city recorder and...
Pretty shabby crew went up and did that.
I believe it was cleaning off the roof of this flat roof here, but someone was throwing a shovel.
It helps if you throw the shovel with the snow.
It seemed like a technique that needed some mastering. So, John,
If you're not
you could get with
careful-
our city
if you're
manager
not
on
careful,
how to
you'll-
shovel properly.
If you're not careful, you'll hit yourself in the mouth.
All right, next piece of business. You have another piece of business.
Yes, I'm going to ask Mr. Sullivan to report on a legal question.
And I'm sorry to, this is generally a ceremonial meeting, but this came up at about 4:30 this afternoon. The city has had litigation with a fellow by the name of Lowell Whitkey over a development called Oak Tree Terrace. And the allegations of the complaint were that Whitkey got subdivision approval. He was required, among many other things, to lay a lift of pavement on the roads in the subdivision. For whatever reason, the lift was done, we believe, improperly. The city tried to work with Mr. Whitkey. The development was approved in 2004. By 2007, it was clear that the lift was not going to be placed there, that the city, if it was going to do anything, would have to go to court. We got authorization from the commission to sue. The suit was filed in December 2007. Mr. Whitkey joined in the suit other people who were involved with the subdivision. There was about a year's worth of back and forth with Whitkey and others over the disposition of the case. Finally, on November 24th, before Judge Eve Miller, there was a tentative settlement agreement reached. It followed a motion for summary judgment that the city filed saying that Whitkey was liable. Another judge agreed with us. The case was apparently settled. The paperwork had to be done. The paperwork was tendered to Mr. Whitkey, and this is not the first time that this has occurred. Mr. Whitkey had some problems with the paperwork. We have a deadline to prosecute the case or not. The terms of the settlement were that the other people involved gave a substantial amount of money to the city. Those checks are pending and ready to be delivered. Mr. Whitkey has not signed the agreement that we all believe that he agreed to, and we have to go into court on Friday. And what I would like to do is to have the commission authorize the mayor to sign our portion of the settlement agreement and present that to the court along with the attorneys for the other parties. The settlement agreement says that if we have to go to court to enforce the settlement, we get our attorney's fees. And I think this is the best resolution we could have gotten. We wrote off some attorney's fees, not much, but this thing apparently will not resolve unless it's resolved by force, by the work of Judge Miller. And I ask your authorization for the mayor to sign on behalf of the city so that we can get the matter resolved.
May I have a motion for authorization for completion of this court case.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Commissioner Nocita, seconded by Commissioner Neely. Are there questions or comments? Seeing none, Nancy, the vote, please.
Commissioner Nocita?
Aye.
Commissioner Neely?
Aye.
Commissioner West?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Norris?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Okay, I'm sure you'll be back to us.
Madam Mayor, the only other thing is, again, I'd like to express my appreciation for the opportunity to have worked with Commissioner Mabee and wish him our best and look forward, again, his ongoing involvement. With that, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is communications from Mayor and Commissioners. I have a couple of things. First of all, as I mentioned, this is our sesquicentennial year, and we have the first event of the year coming up next Wednesday, the 14th. Thursday. Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Yes, yes, it is. It's a week from today. The sesquicentennial stamp has been released. It was released during the State Fair, and it looks like this, which you probably can't see, but you can buy them at your post office on January 14th. But and you can, so there's three things that will be available in Oregon City that will be available nowhere else. One of them is all of the rest of the postmarks, first day postmarks, will say Sesquicentennial Station. So if you go over to any other town, that's what they'll say. But ours will say First City Station. And so thanks to our postmaster, Dan O'Donnell, he got that through. Secondly, our postmaster thought it would be very cool to have a first day cover, which means an envelope that you provide specially. So he contacted an art teacher that we know, Commissioner Smith, and two of Commissioner Smith's students. We have a color design with Oregon City icons, and we have a black and white design. And the color design will be available for $5 plus a plastic cover, and the black and white, will be available for $3. And right here at City Hall, at 8:30 a.m. on January 14th, you may come in and have you can bring an envelope from home and have it stamped, or you can just get the stamp, or you can just have it postmarked, or you can buy the whole shebang and have a souvenir for the sesquicentennial. So we encourage you all, January 14th, 8:30 to 10 here right in these commission chambers. And then, of course, the stamp will be available all year at your friendly post office. I believe this envelope will be, too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they're available all year.
They do it again on the February.
On February 14th as well, which is the kickoff of the actual celebration. So, then the other thing that I have is another piece of business that I need to run by you. We have talked in the past, and I apologize if the two new commissioners aren't up to speed yet. We'll get you there. We have a group called the Willamette Falls Heritage Area Coalition. The Mayor of West Lynn and I formed this group to be the umbrella group to consider the preservation and enhancement of the Willamette Falls area from the Tualatin River to the Clackamas River, and what the potential goals are: a national heritage area or a state park. And we'll have to go into all of that. But to apply for a national heritage area, you need a full-blown master plan, and this is an organization of volunteers without money. So we are each going to our group to collect the monies necessary. The master plan is being sort of kick-started by two classes at the University of Oregon, Landscape Architectural Studios, and we are paying for those students to do some preliminary design work. And the group that's gone down to see that initial work, very impressed with what it is. But there will be two of those studios, and then we're having a rollout of that on Thursday, January the 15th, I think. And what I'm asking you tonight, I checked for the city manager, to authorize us to spend up to $5,000, and that depends on how many other stakeholders put in bits of money. West Lynn will be making that same request of their city, is up to $5,000. We think the total bill is going with the Clackamas County through the Tourism Development Council has already put in over $10,000. So I think the total bill is about $20,000. And if you would authorize us to spend that money to do these design studios, which you will get to see, I've sent you an invitation to the first one, that will allow this work to continue. This year's work eventually probably will be the formalization of a real committee, application to Congress for national heritage status, probably, again, fundraising for doing a full-blown master plan of the area. But there's a lot of steps in between. So, with that...
And, Madam Mayor,
yes.
you want to take that out of the business license
Yes.
reserve?
Yeah, the business license reserve would be where that would come. Commissioner West.
$20,000 for the total plan, and the county's putting in 10. And how
For
many
these studios.
partners? Huh?
They're for these studios. They're called studios.
For
They're
the
student
master plan.
studios. No, well, it's actually probably preliminary to the master plan, but they may indeed be incorporated into the plan. It's kind of uncertain at this point because we haven't seen them yet. What that will do, but it will help us get our arms around some design ideas for that whole area, and whether we go with a state park or national heritage area or both or not, those ideas may indeed be implemented because my understanding is that they may be good enough. So it's good preliminary work, it's affordable work, and I think that's why we're doing it at this point, partly because of the price tag and the expertise of the professors who are guiding these students in these projects.
Okay, so my question, so is 5,000 proportional to whatever all our other partners are paying? And then number
No.
2 is, do we need, okay.
It is not. As I mentioned, City of West Lynn is the other major partner, and the county. The county is actually stepping up big time, and they've also put in some. We've also given little bits of money to keep the organization going. The county has stepped up several times, so they're the big funders, and then the City of West Lynn and us will be the second biggest, which would be up to 5,000. I think it'll be less. Clackamas Heritage Partners has agreed to put in, I can't remember the amounts, it's $250 to $500. The Arts Action
Shampooey or-
Alliance, no, the Arts Action Alliance has, these are all countywide organizations, has agreed to put in that much. The Ice Age Floods Organization, I believe they're doing $250 or $500. I can't remember the amount without my notes. And then there's several other organizations, I think, that tomorrow morning when we meet will report back to us. So we're still in the kind of gathering the funds mode.
And then the second part is, do we need to do this tonight? What's the urgency or what?
Because we need to report tomorrow morning whether we have, where our discussions are. Yes, we'll have plenty more discussions in the future. And if you want to just put this on hold, that's fine, but it would be nice to have that commitment to go ahead because of the students and the class has kind of been waiting on it. So. Me from the business license. Commissioner Nocita.
I think I share Commissioner West's concern about the timing on this. I really, before voting to expend these types of funds, I feel that I really need to know more about this. And my preference would be to table this and maybe discuss it at the retreat and, see if we can arrange a vote on it, as soon thereafter as we can get up to speed on it.
Yeah. Probably won't be the retreat. It'll probably be sometime after that because I think the retreat agenda is pretty chock full. But I'm comfortable with that. If you're leaning sort of positively, I can say that we like the idea and where we need to hone down on the details of it. In fact, if we can't do that, well, hopefully West Lynn can because we have a bill coming due. You will have an opportunity to see that first studio by the time we meet again, too.
Yeah.
So you'll be one step closer. Commissioner Neal.
And, because the level of the business tax that we currently pay is really something that was requested by the chamber, they asked for an increase in the business tax to help the businesses. I would like to hear their take on it, too, as an appropriate expense.
Space, okay.
Yeah.
Great, that's fine. I wanted to let you know that this request was out there, and we'll talk about it a lot more. It's not our style to spring on you like that without background. It's just that meeting is tomorrow morning, and we were hoping to have some more commitments. So I will just say that we'll have, it's a work in progress here. Commissioner West.
Well, I look forward to supporting the project, and we'll just talk about it later, and maybe where the money is coming from, too, might be.
I was just going to say, I just paid for my business license, so I don't know, did I need to do that, or?
No, actually, another idea that I have had, another idea of possibility for me would be that if we paid it temporarily out of another fund and applied for a grant through Metro Enhancement or OCCIT, that would be another way to fund it probably more appropriately.
I think we've had issues in our granting processes. Actually, our Metro counselor brought that up, that they seem to be funding a lot of city projects. And if we make that statement and we are major members of the board, it really looks bad. I'd rather leave that one completely
Not do that in the
off
grant
table.
program? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll continue to search for where that money should come from, because it is a project that's worthy, and it's extremely collaborative. The other stakeholders are members of recreational boating, the fishing of several fishing organizations. You have tribal groups. I can't remember. Anybody who has interest in the river, anyway, as part of this informal coalition at this point. So it's kind of an exciting idea. So we will discuss this later, and you'll get a report from our meeting tomorrow morning, because I believe we're meeting with State Parks and talking about the studio. So we'll have a report later on. Is there anyone else that has a report this evening? If not, again, congratulations.
I have a quick report.
Yes, Commissioner Nocita.
I just wanted to quickly concur with the praise of the Public Works Department over the course of the snows and the rainfall. And I want to tell a real quick anecdote. I chatted with this about this with the mayor over the phone. I did not know when I bought my house on top of a cliff that I might have rain problems. But I had my little postage stamp-sized backyard first turned into a pond and then turned into a lake on New Year's night. And at midnight, when I knew something was terribly wrong, everything had closed. And what I thought to do in my panic was precisely to get in my car and drive over to the Public Works Department, because I knew that people would be working diligently and hard over the course of the night to solve all the problems that were rising. And miraculously, as I drove up to the Public Works building, there was a truck with a sign on the side, and it was a pump company that was working with Public Works. And I begged them for a business card, and I went home and called this company in Hubbard, and by 2:30 I was pumping the lake out of my backyard into the storm drain. And I still have the pump waiting for the next deluge. But just, for the people out there at home, too, I just wanted to commend the Public Works Department and let everybody know that we're conscious of what water can do and our sewer system capacity and lots of challenges we face.
Thank
Personal
you.
experience.
John and I will pass that on to the people that did all the work themselves, including John, of course. But we'll pass that on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have one thing.
Commissioner West? Excuse me, Mr. Smith. She always sits over there.
Well, thank you.
Sorry.
Just more on the postage cancellation, the post office cancellation. The post office is also going to have a display of all the other designs. There was a class of graphic design students of mine who designed some really amazing designs. I was even really impressed by it. And so all the designs will be on display at the post office probably on the 14th and on for about a month. So you can go to the post office and check those out.
Right, thank you. Commissioner Neely?
I have a question. I've served on this commission for 10 years, and I've never had the honor of sitting next to the mayor at this commission table, and I'm wondering why.
Let the record show, please, that Commissioner Neely gets to sit next to the mayor. What a privilege. And on that-
That's enough. That's enough.
Oh. Do you have something serious? Yes.
Regarding the sesquicentennial stamp. Regarding the William Gifford, Oregon City.
Thank you.
Wanted to mention that the information regarding those activities is all available on OC150.com.
OC150.com, our website, and all of the other activities are there as well, so please check that out. On that day, January 14th, also, is the unveiling if you want to drive over to Western Forestry Center, you can have a different stamp over there. If there's no other business to come before us, we are adjourned.